Their laughing turns to begging when they realize who he is. The old man stepped into the store dressed in modest clothes and talked lowly. He was trying to get help, but one pushy salesman quickly sent him away. They made rude comments and told him there was nothing for him there. Little did they know, the frail old man would get the last laugh. Robert Jack was an army veteran who fought in the Vietnam War. His years in service left him scarred for life, but he managed to pull through and find happiness thanks to his wife, Katie. Robert was now facing new hardship as he was going through his twilight years, and he did all he could to still find hope. But would it be enough? Robert and Katie got married decades ago. She was his high school sweetheart, and they've been in love ever since. As they got old, though, problems started to pile up. The family recently began to go through a rougher patch, and the old man felt lost. One day, he wandered around for a while and stepped into a nice car dealership. As soon as he walked in, all eyes were on him. What was he doing there? Was he going through some medical crisis and needed help? The car dealership was having an unusual slow morning that day. However, the sales employees had long gotten used to this phenomenon and were not concerned about it. The staff was supposed to identify visitors who could actually buy any of the cars displayed in the shop. Most people came into the dealership to look at the expensive cars, having neither the intention nor the means to buy one. So, naturally, they noticed the old man and were quick to label him as a visitor who shouldn't be there. Was it the right call, though? Experienced managers had a trained eye and they could easily recognize a potential buyer when they saw one. Therefore, when the dealership doors opened and a hunched-over elderly man carrying a small canvas bag came in, the sales manager immediately lost interest. This man was definitely not there to buy a car, they thought. He probably got confused, thinking it was a supermarket or something. The salespeople were surprised to see the old man's peculiar behavior. He went to the front desk and asked the receptionist to watch his bag, which she carefully put on the floor. Then the old man began to carefully examine the cars parked in the exhibition hall. He was dressed in a shabby cowboy shirt, loose-fitting pants, and an old hat, which looked rather undermining. One particular salesman watched the old man, not even trying to hide his malicious smile. He wouldn't wait any longer before approaching the old man. The salesman was sure the old man was poor and probably out of his mind. He thought the man only came in to admire the expensive cars. The old man meticulously examined one car after another until finally, he settled on the most expensive one. He asked the salesman about the engine capacity and if he could look at the car's interior. The salesman, who was already sick of watching the old man, came up to him and explained in an angry voice that the price of the car had increased and it was actually reserved for someone else. However, there was still a price tag on the vehicle. Doesn't that mean the car was still for sale? The salesman suggested the old man try a used car rental service. But Robert wouldn't budge. As soon as the salesman suggested the rental place, the entire sales staff started laughing. Only Richard, who recently started the job, wasn't laughing. He felt sorry for the old man, who felt like a poor lamb surrounded by a flock of evil hyenas. Unable to tolerate the other salesman's behavior, Richard stepped closer and suggested that the man should get to see the car. The salesman wasn't having any of it. Meanwhile, the old man kept standing there, quietly waiting to get access to the car's interior. However, the angry salesman called security instead, who escorted the strange buyer to the exit. The salesman was glad he got rid of the old man. But that wasn't actually the case. The unjust treatment brought tears to Robert's eyes. Hunched over, he walked away. At that same moment, the leadership administrator saw the bag left behind by the old man, and unwilling to pick it up, she used her foot to push it towards the exit. The other employees laughed when they saw it. The young salesman, Richard, again interrupted the fun, who suddenly took the bag and went outside. Luckily, the elderly man didn't get far. Richard handed over the bag, then embarrassed, he apologized for his colleague's behavior. The old man opened his bag and showed its contents to the young salesman. Richard couldn't believe his eyes. The old man was mistaken for a homeless person, but there were bundles of $100 bills inside his bag. Richard was intrigued and looked questionably at the old man. The old man coughed and closed his bag. He then began his story. He introduced himself to the nice young salesman and proceeded to tell the tale of his lifetime. Richard was left speechless. The old man had been collecting cardboard and bottles, which he then brought to recycling centers. Robert saved up all the money he earned because he wanted to buy a car which his wife Katie had been dreaming of for a while. His wife had been fighting cancer for several years and seemed to be losing the fight. To pay for her chemotherapy, they had to sell their home and move into a trailer. But that wasn't enough. Robert wanted to do more for his wife. Realizing that the treatment did not give any positive results, the old man decided to fulfill his wife's wish and buy her a new car. Unfortunately, by the time the old man had managed to save up enough money, the price of the car had increased substantially. He did not have enough money to buy the car he wanted. This didn't sit well with Richard, the young salesman. When Richard found out how much money the old man needed, he got to thinking of a way to help. Richard knew that the car dealership could hardly afford such a discount. After escorting the old man, Richard went back to work. He couldn't shake his thoughts of the old man and Katie's dream. Later that evening, the young salesman found himself at the old man's door. What could he have wanted? Holding a bundle of cash in his hand, the young salesman told Robert that he had brought the entire amount that he needed. And told him to buy his wife that car. He quickly turned away and left before seeing the old man tear up. The next day Robert returned to the dealership. The salespeople could not understand how he could have changed so drastically. The old man was now wearing a business suit and he was carrying the same canvas bag. Everyone was left without words when he opened the bag. The old man opened the bag and showed everyone the piles of money he had. When he saw the money, the previously rude salesman started fussing around Robert. The old man didn't hesitate and bought the car on the spot. Everyone there was envious of the old man for being able to buy such an expensive car. He went home and he took his wife by the hand and led her out into the street, gesturing at the expensive car. Katie was overwhelmed with joy. Finally, her lifetime dream had been fulfilled.